salad and tzatziki. Okay, you can basically look at this practical in three different sections. Producing the lamb skewer or the lamb kofta on the skewer, the couscous salad and the tzatziki. Okay, first things first, as always, we do our mise en place first, and here is the list. Okay, the couscous salad. Basically it contains the base, the couscous, which is made out of wheat. We'll put a mixture of herbs, coriander, mint and parsley behind here. And also roast some red capsicum and some pumpkin and place a little brunoise salad onion, dress it up with some olive oil and white wine vinegar and season it, and it should be fine. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is dice up my pumpkin and capsicum. So take the skin off the pumpkin with a veggie peeler or a knife. Cut the pumpkin into about a 1 centimetre cube, guys, so just slice it all in one go. Then stack it up, cut it into 1 centimetre thicknesses again. And then stack it all together, and into cubes, just like so. Now the red capsicum or the pepper. So a beautiful ingredient, good colour. That's what we're trying to encourage, a variety of colour in this salad. So from my red, my yellow, obviously going to have my green with the herbs. The couscous is quite a bland looking colour, and the purple of the red onion. So a couple of cheeks of this, and again similar size to your pumpkin, keep things uniform. Just place that into a bowl, both the pumpkin and the capsicum, so they'll cook at the similar time. I'm going to dress that up with some olive oil, be quite generous. Some pepper, always season savoury foods. Some salt, toss that around into a pre-lined tray so it doesn't stick as bad. Spread it out so it's all on the base and into an oven on 180, 200 for about 10-15 minutes. Now we're going to make the couscous, alright? That couscous absorbs liquid and it takes 1 part couscous to 1 part liquid, or today we're going to use a stock. So measuring, always measure dry ingredients in measuring cups and wet ingredients, say stock or oils, in a measuring jug. Dry ingredients in a measuring cup. Like so. Boiling water. Alright, now boiling water, when you're using boiling water or filling up at the urn or even at your station with the saucepan, be aware of people around you, communicate, say hot, behind, you're walking through the kitchen with this, back to my bench, obviously communicating to people around me that I'm coming through. Okay, the couscous into a tray the appropriate size, so I've got a lot more than you, so you might need a little smaller tray. I just top it with butter, just knobs of butter throughout. Salt and pepper. We know the importance of salt and pepper. Even a little olive oil. Now the stock. Now you really need to have your Glad wrap at hand, because once this stock goes on, you need to trap that steam in there so it cooks. Now if you don't get it on soon enough, maybe it won't cook enough, and therefore you'll be left with hard granules and maybe a bit wetter than you'd like. So cover your couscous. Wrap it immediately. Cut it on there. And let that stand for a couple of minutes, and then I'll show you what to do from that point. Okay, the other ingredients we need to prepare are the brunoise of the salad onion, or the Spanish onion. So we've all done this before. Peel it, tip of your knife, want to keep that intact so don't cut all the way to the end when you're using the tip. Use the claw grip. Turn it sideways and just tip of your knife on the board and just rolling that with the claw grip, nice and safely. Okay, in this recipe, in this salad, we're going to have 3 herbs. So the first one, coriander. This is coriander, quite common in Asian cookery. The second herb is mint, very common mint, desserts, drinks. This variety is probably not as common as the round leaf ones, but it's very decorative and very nice to garnish desserts. So Do a nice little. And our third is an Italian parsley, so it's not flat leaf, it's just a curly. Okay, so preparing the herbs, we want to do a nice chiffonade. So chiffonade means finely shave, and I'll show you how to use the appropriate knife technique for that. But just roughly take the stems off. Now, towards the top of the coriander, it's quite tender, so you don't need to fuss too much. Parsley is a bit more fibrous in the stem, so a bit more thorough with that. And again, with your mint, it's quite fibrous in the stem too, so make sure that you get the majority of the stem out, and you're just left with a beautiful mixture of leaves. Look at that. Alright, I'm going to do this in 2 lots. What I do is, say I've got a lot, I might just grab half of it, bundle it up, bundle it up, bundle it up, tuck it up nice and tight, so turn that big handful of herbs into one little tight ball. I grab my knife, and I'm just going to move back and forward so it's slicing, it's not just chopping down, you're actually slicing and preventing the leaf from bruising, so then it will retain its colour for a longer period of time. So that knife tip moving back and forth, claw grip, knife never leaves the board, and you're slicing very fine. Should be looking like grass clippings if you can get it that fine. Okay, back to the couscous. Now it's been resting for 3 minutes, it should be cooked. You need to get a fork, not a spoon, and just run your fork through it so it fluffs up. Otherwise it'll cook in clumps and overcook. And see how it's nice and loose and nice and broken up? We want to do that before it cooks too far, and that is our beautiful cooked couscous. So all my mise en place for the salad, I've got my couscous cooked, I've got my chiffonade of herbs, my brumaire of onion, and my roasted capsicum and pumpkin. I'm going to combine all that and dress it with olive oil, vinegar, and season it, alright? The importance is tasting. How do you know if it's going to taste good? You taste it. Alright, into a big mixing bowl, all your ingredients are prepared. Like so. Herbs. Now read your recipe, guys. I am quite familiar with the quantities by just guessing, but you'll have the recipe there. So just dress it up with the olive oil and vinegar. Adds a nice viscosity and also a nice flavour, so you've got your acid, you've got your salt, and hopefully you've got a bit of sugar in the vegetables. Season it. Pepper. Salt. Stir it all around. Up close. Look at these colours. Can you see those colours there? They're mixed, looking very, very beautiful. Now I need to taste it. I've put in a rough estimate of seasoning, but now to ensure its quality, I need to taste it. Taste everything you cook, guys, otherwise how do you know it's going to taste any good? Got good seasoning, just lacking a bit of oil and a bit of acid. Again, stir that up. Alright, on to creating the kofta lamb skewers, guys. We need to do a few little mise en place items that were listed at the start of the video. We need to mince garlic, brumaire some onion mixed through, chiffonade some fresh herbs, and then combine all those with our dry spices into our mince and then shape them on our skewer. Okay, working with bamboo skewers, you'll find that they're quite long and they're also quite dry. So what will happen if you put these on a char grill or near a naked flame, then they'll just burn. So one thing you have to do is soak them in water before you prepare the item. And another thing is that because they're quite long, they'll look quite awkward on a plate, so you need to cut them down to an appropriate size so they don't look so awkward. So here we go. Cut them down, just get it to a size that is more appropriate. I think cutting it one at a time is easier. And just line it up with the other ones. Just grab them. And into water. Now you need to soak them for about 5 to 10 minutes before they are actually used. So if you cannot achieve a very fine brumaire on the first attempt, then just run your knife through just to break it down so it's nice and small. Otherwise you're going to have these big chunks hanging out of the mince. And my mince, I'm going to add all my mise en place items, my minced garlic, my chiffonade, chopped herbs, my brumaire onion nice and fine, my mixed spices and my breadcrumbs. So they can all go in, just go bang, bang, scrape those in. use your hand, and it's sanitised, obviously with a clean glove. If you choose to use without gloves, you obviously have to sanitise and clean your hands quite thoroughly. So just mix that nice and thoroughly. Alright, putting the meat or the mince on the skewer, you need a bowl to wet your hands so the mince doesn't stick to you so much. And you need to break your mince down. So I think you get 300 grams, so therefore you'll have about 6 skewers at 50 grams. So just divide your mince into the 6 skewers, therefore they'll be all consistent size. So again, just a couple of points, guys. Just ensure the consistency and thickness and shape, and that the tip here of the skewer is embedded into the meat so that it doesn't burn. Alright, so boom, 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 even thickness, even shape. Alright, we're going to use 2 different implements or pieces of equipment to cook these kofta. We're going to use the char grill, and I'm also going to use the skillet or a little portable char grill here. So preparing the kofta is very, very important. Now, I didn't put seasoning into the mix, so it's very important that I do correct that. I can just dress it with a bit of salt and pepper. And always oil. Oil stops things from sticking, particularly on char grills where they'll tend to grab. So it's very easy to cook the meat, make sure it's cooked the way through, and then plate and present it. So on with the meat onto a very hot surface. We did ensure that it was nice and hot. Hear the kissing of the oil on the hot surface. Careful of that hot surface. Lightly press it down. Lightly press it down. And just adjust the heat accordingly. So if it's too hot, it's going to burn on the outside and then not cook through. So just turn it down if it's a little too hot. We have here's the char grill, guys. So you can see that the light is on here. The light will be on until it reaches a certain temperature. So it's set to a thermostat. So once it gets to 280, the light will go off and you'll know that it is hot enough. So at this stage, it's basically, see, I just turn it slightly, it's on 260, 270. So it's basically hot enough. You can hear the kiss sound again. Alright, it's very important to note that when you're cooking on a surface like this, that you allow the meat to cook on the outside, otherwise it will grab. So ensure that it's cooked so it actually turns easily. There we go, turn. Okay, the meat also goes in the very essential ingredient, so chiffonade that as fine as you can get it, fine. Cucumber. And the meat can go into my yogurt. And to finish, very simple. You know, if you want to go a bit more elaborate, you would put a bit of lemon rind, just the outside of the lemon, nice and oily and fragrant. You would also put a bit of minced garlic in there. I will put a bit of cracked pepper though, just nice fine crack. And I would tend to use fresh lemon, but just for today I'm going to put a little squeeze of bottle, and that's mixed up. Simple as that. And that is our dressing for the top of our kofta and plating up. Now, very important that you present the food very attractively. Now, you obviously eat with your eyes first. So, here's a few tips, alright? Bit of mixed lettuce as a base, just into the middle there. Alright, to contain the couscous salad, I'm just going to use a pastry cutter or a little mould and just fill it up. Fill it up. Contain the salad in that nice little ring shape. Alright, so plating up the skewers. Now you've got 3, I serve 3 to a main and have the skewers up here. So the guests might pick it up and eat it by their hand, or they might pick it up and scrape it off with their fork. So think about a customer.